Have you seen these clips? Oh no, but you sent these to me at the beginning of the stream. Wait, hold on. What is this clip?
A lot of these people are. Have you heard of like the Taliban or the Dazba Brigade?
Al-Qaeda.
That's no. The Dazba with D.
Yeah, no,
there's this group.
Yeah, Al-Qaeda.
What? Oh, okay. I haven't heard that one. So yeah. When I am talking about these people, so a great deal of these people are in. They're like in the Dazba Brigade. They are people like they're mods. Which Dan Saltman made them mods for the whatever the actual name of it is, and these are just like really racist people, and like the community is just filled with them, and I've talked with a lot of people online.
Okay. Destiny Hutch Vadim. Make sure it's Hutch Vadim video. Hold on, it's this one. This is what I was linked.
And he just didn't.
Is this the right one?
He just didn't think that.
Okay, what about accusing?
Take the punch.
What about?
Yes.
Accusing Lonerbox of being a paid Hasbara propagandist.
Like, first of all, I don't know about that. That's a tricky one for me.
Why?
Because
Fucking why,
I don't
bro?
think that they I talk with Lonerbox here and there, and I could be wrong, but I don't.
True. Wait, one quick second. Well, no, never mind. Well, do you remember this?
You just want to have another match then? Do you?
I
don't.
no.
We're gonna do the vote.
Do your vote.
Okay.
It's always good to remind us of our failed ops. Okay. I can't relate to my haters. My enemies never made it, except Hassan and Vosh, who made it huge. But besides that,
Team, who do you vote for?
Team in, mama.
Okay. Colorado, who do you vote for? They can't hear you. Okay. Jannibal, who do you vote for?
That made me the final vote. I thought.
Remember the speeches.
Okay. I was unclear on how the voting worked. I would have. I would have voted Destiny, and I.
Oh my fucking god!
Everyone
Destiny.
agrees.
Destiny. All right.
All right. There you have it.
You sure? You don't want another thing? We can have another match.
Nope. If that's the way the judges are going to vote.
Wait, so that wasn't. You said that you did not know how.
We all agreed to it.
Wait, it's the judge who's bringing this up. Dylan, this is a judge.
Come on. Okay, so
Vadim was one of the judges in this debate, and now Vadim is going to argue something. I don't even remember what.
I'm just asking. I don't know who it is, but he says that he did not understand how things were, how the voting went. So wait, did you originally vote Hunter, and you voted Hunter thinking that you were voting for him to lose? Like I don't. Where was the misunderstanding?
The misunderstanding came after when everybody confused it by having a 30-minute conversation that ruined my brain. I picked Destiny.
Wait, but you didn't pick Destiny originally, right?
Not picked Hunter.
Wait, but who do you
You
think?
picked Hunter. So when you picked Hunter, why did you pick? Did you pick Hunter as the winner?
You and Jerry Springer now?
Yep.
Okay, so now we're doing a thing where people change their votes. Okay, all right. That's unfair though, because the thing is that like the whole point of the voting system is we're supposed to not be.
Okay, you just said you wanted a revote, so that might revote.
No.
Well, Dylan left anyway.
I didn't.
Looks like it's done.
Okay, all right.
Just agree to it.
Yeah.
All right, this has not been fair. Like, I mean, I really don't like being the one to say it, but it is unfair. So I have to just say I just have to say the fucking truth. I haven't had an awkward situation like this online in years.
It is
all right, okay. I mean, I guess it's just out of my hands at this point, you know. But I stand by this. This is
Wait, Destiny agreed to have another match if you wanted one.
Right now?
I don't know if he said right now, but he said you want to have another match.
Ask him right now. Ask him if he'll do it right now.
Okay, you can't appreciate this because it's a 3-minute clip. Trust me, this whole thing was so unbelievably fucking cringe, okay? Oh my god.
I don't think that they like.
Can you explain it? I have no clue what's going on. I don't even remember what was going on. I just remember it being insanely uncomfortable and cringe.
Paid for, or rather had everything paid for while they were out there. I think that they paid for their like tickets there and whatnot, but like they had a great deal of people who were showing them around.
I wish I might. No. Maybe. if I'm too lazy, that's never happening. I was gonna say, if everybody's gonna fucking sue people now, I should start suing people. Why not? Fuck it. But then, but I'm thinking like, would I be allowed to sue somebody in another state if I was representing myself? Would you be allowed to do that? I honestly have no idea, because I don't know if the court has. Is it personal jurisdiction over me if I'm in another state? If the thing happened, I don't know how any of that works. I can't even say. But like, just to be super ultra clear, it's even worth saying. Like, there is no evidence anywhere ever that has ever been presented ever that me and Lonerbox or anybody has ever been paid to go to fucking Israel. It never happened. Nobody sent me fucking money for any of this shit. The people literally have just. They just say it. And there's not even like an inkling of like, oh, what about when he talked about that bus that was sent by the Mossad? Like there's no reason to believe this other than just people have memed it as a thing. It's so cringe and stupid. Oh my God.
Someone says it's a paid trip. The obvious context is that you were paid to do like Israeli propaganda.
I mean, it was a propaganda trip. Like Israel is not going. Whether, and then that's really, I guess, what I have to say about it. I don't particularly like have like. I think that it is.
Oh my God.
Losing the forest for the trees to talk about whether or not it was a. Paid,
but that's what Hassan.
Losing the forest for the trees. I think Vadim is a bad person personally because he fucks 2-year-olds. But if he was ever to push me on that claim, I mean, like personally, it doesn't matter. I mean, well, let's not lose the forest for the trees, okay? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But I mean, like, let's focus on the fact that he's a bad person. Like, excuse me, fuck you, okay? With a 9-inch. Oh God, the bat. Who kills the guy in the bat in The Walking Dead? That would have been better if I could remember, but I've never actually seen the show. I've just seen that scene. So fuck this guy with that bat. The one that kills Rick? Is that the guy who dies? Negan's bat. Careful.
He accused him of being a paid Israeli propagandist. That's obviously what he's.
It was a propaganda trip. The reason they don't allow people to go in and like look at all the shit that they have.
What do you mean they don't allow people? Like this is why I get irritated by people like Hassan and all these other dipshits that are pretending to do politics or research or whatever, but they're just doing like social clubs. You don't know anything about any of these countries. You retarded inbred fuck. What do you mean? Do you think they quiz you when you land at Tel Aviv, and they're like, "What is your purpose here to look at any part of the country that we don't want you to look?" Like, what are you fucking talking about? They don't allow you to. What does that even look like? Have you even left the United States? Well, he's probably Canadian, I get. Like,
also,
that's a fucking lie. That is a total fucking lie.
They were also like highly critical of people when they were there too.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
No, critical doesn't count unless you literally say Israel is committing a genocide against everybody and an apartheid against everybody, and every single Palestinian that rapes or murders or tortures or does anything bad to any Israeli is fully justified every single time, 100%.
They talked with this I think he's a rabbi. His name is Yishel.
Please tell me this is not election night, Vadim. Oh, that guy had the same name. No, this is not that one. This is a totally different one. Yishai Flesher. Yishai Flesher does do like pro-Israeli propaganda for sure. But like Mustafa Barghouti is a candidate in one of the parties in the PLO. I don't remember. I don't remember. But like we talked to all sorts of other people. I talked to Ahmed Tibi, who's an Arab politician. Like, yeah, everybody's fucking biased in Israel. Yes, everybody has their own fucking agenda and their own propaganda. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And I talked to a guy from Kogat who was responsible for Kogat is the thing that monitors stuff going in and out of the in and out of Gaza. We talked to a lady from B'Tselem who's propaganda for the far left. Like, I mean.
Fleischer, maybe I'm fucking up his name, but you know he.
Wait, if Lonerbox is in the chat,
he's lying. He knows Yishai was mad at my fucking coverage of that trip. He knows.
Lonerbox does admit. Like,
we could join the Discord.
He knows full fucking well. He knows full fucking well. He's lying. He's lying.
I did not say he was a paid.
No, I said Hassan accused him of being a paid propagandist.
I don't think that it is out. Like he like. First of all, if someone goes somewhere and they end up getting a lot of because there's no doubt that like both Lonerbox. Destiny to a lesser degree, but
when we were in the West Bank talking to fucking people who were suffering in the checkpoints and shit,
like a real boost in their.
Come on, we're talking about you're jumping.
What was he saying? Was he a real what?
Lonerbox getting a lot of because there's no doubt that like both Lonerbox. Destiny to a lesser degree, but
when we were in the West Bank talking to fucking people who were suffering in the checkpoints and shit,
like a real boost in their.
Come on.
You want to know the biggest argument? Fuck me, actually. My own inability to produce structured content is the biggest argument against this being a propaganda trip. Imagine Israel pays somebody to do propaganda and never release the propaganda. What? This would be the worst propaganda of all time. Like, what?
But come on, we're talking about you're jumping through hoops to try to explain what Hassan said. What Hassan said, he was clearly saying that
It was a paid propaganda tour.
Lonerbox was paid
no
to go to
evidence.
Israel to do Asbar propaganda.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I can explain it by, taking this angle and that angle. That's a crazy thing to say. I mean, I feel like you should just be able to.
Crazy thing to
Yeah,
say.
it is, bro.
No,
that
it's not,
is.
because we-
It is
dude,
crazy
dude,
thing to
dude,
say. It's
why
so
is
fucking
it?
crazy.
Why? Like, do you think that there are not?
Because he's not a paid propagandist. It's not true. That's
How do I
why
get
it's
in?
bad.
Where's the Discord?
Yeah,
Is there a
yes,
Discord
but
link?
they would have paid them to go out there. They didn't take. This is my understanding. They did not take payment because they didn't want it to sort of like look like.
So they were paid to do propaganda by Israel, but they decided not to take payment and just do free propaganda? Why would they do propaganda for free? Do you know what they call free propaganda? They just call that shit you believe in. That's not a paid trip. That's just me. Maybe I'm just an Israeli shill, but it doesn't. If they don't have to pay me to say it, that is just stuff that I actually believe.
There's something
What's he basing this on?
super phony in a situation like
What's he
that.
basing
Would
this
you be okay
on?
with Lonerbox hopping in the call to explain what he did, or is that too confrontational for you?
That's fine.
I don't know if Loner, if you're watching, yeah.
I'm
Where'd I
totally
go?
fine with that. But before he comes in, I want to clarify a couple of things because I think he's going to maybe clarify some other things that I spoke about. And I just want to make sure that
Keep in mind that while I'm there, and it's funny because there are some people, Israelis, who thought I was there to do an Israeli glaze trip. This guy thought I was. And then I went on his show because he's like, oh, you should come on my show. And
All the media.
based on our conversation on the show, I could definitely tell. I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to ask this guy the right questions, and he's going to fucking glaze up my country. Hell yes. Talk about how great Israel is.
Ultimately force it to leave Hamas on standing on its feet.
I have something called oppositional defiance disorder. If I feel like you're trying to make me glaze you, I'll hate you for no reason, okay? I just want you to know that, okay? The key to getting me to glaze you is to shit on the other side or something and then make me want to defend, whatever. Don't try to make me glaze you. If you make me glaze you, I will anti-glaze you just out of spite. I'll do it out of spite.
What are the major gaps that you're seeing between the reality on the ground that you've discovered from following what's actually happening, doing your own research, and the story that's being sold in the media? What are the biggest gaps of misinformation, specifically in this conflict, but also the Israeli-Palestinian conflict more broadly?
I feel like on a macro level, it feels like because both sides demonize each other so much, both sides will spend so much time trying to exonerate their own side to kind of sometimes a ridiculous amount. We can get as razor focused or as macro as you want, but like on a very razor focused level, things relating to God, there's so many different examples. I guess the most recent thing I was kind of like reading into is like, for instance, like the Great March of Return. The peaceful Great March of Return was started off as like a peaceful idea for people to go to the wall.
The border riots.
That pro-Israeli propaganda, the border riots, yes.
And like wave flags and like have parades and festivals, and then maybe there were a couple bad actors. That's the story that the pro-Palestinian side gives. And then on the
the story they give in English.
it's the story they give in English. Yeah, sure, yeah. And then on the obviously when you actually dig into the events, and not even dig, you just look at the videos posted, everything, you say, okay, well this event was a lot more. I mean, even the idea, the concept of the Great March of Return, when you ask people what that means, a lot of people don't even know what that means. And the idea was, marching through the border wall and going back to, where your original villages were. And the hope was that other Palestinians from other refugee camps would join. And to call that event peaceful is a stretch, I think, even in the intention, let alone the fact that Hamas was active in the early days.
Well, you had Hamas's leaders standing among the crowds telling them you need to rip their hearts out of their chests, and they published maps pointing them how to get to the border communities. I mean, Israel was warning at the time.
Sure, yeah.
But the reason that it had to use gunfire
Preventative
against people
measures,
storming the border, right, was because of a potential massacre that could be the sort of thing we found out on October 7th.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I mean also I'm sympathetic towards the Israeli side because the narrative on the Palestinian side is so much more popular online. But then I also notice it's true for like the Israeli side as well that there seems to be issues with and it's annoying because I go to bat sometimes probably for more the pro-Zionist side than the anti-Zionist side just because we argue with online. But every time a situation comes up,
If you can be a contrarian nowadays, being a contrarian means taking the Israelis.
Yeah, I guess technically, yeah. But it'll be like, okay, well, this event just happened, a bunch of people died, we'll do an internal investigation, and then sometimes I feel like I never hear the results of that. Or if you look back and you see like, oh, okay, well, XYZ happened, or some amount of Palestinians were killed, and I think, I would love counterexamples, but when I dig back, I feel like no IDF soldier, no Israeli person has ever been held in prison for like more than, I think, 36 months for like an actual bad event, where they were convicted of, manslaughter or murder or killing of.
I don't believe a single IDF soldier has spent more than, I think it's 3 years in prison, a single one for any bad event they've ever been convicted of. God, I should have had this example offhand. I can't remember right now, but there was an event was it after the first Lebanese war? There were like 12 or 10 soldiers that were all convicted of, they did bad shit. I'm pretty sure it was like on the level of like murdering people that they weren't supposed to. And originally they got, I think, hefty sentences, like 10 plus year sentences. But then every time somebody new came in, the sentence kept getting reduced or something. And I think Sharon ultimately, released all these guys after like 3 years. I was like, wait, why? Damn. I think I might have, maybe it wasn't Sharon, or maybe it was earlier than that, but
I don't know if they're called murder or whatever, but killing of like people in the West Bank or Palestinians. So yeah, I feel like both sides have issues with being honest about what they're doing, but the Hamas side, the Palestinian side, is definitely way more successful in marketing their untruths in the international media, I think.
So specifically,
I'm even being nicer here to the Israeli side. That was a decently pro-Israeli overall take, I think. Is he still going to fight me on this? I don't remember anything from this interview. Hold
on that micro level, there have been so many examples. The fake Israeli airstrike on the Al-Ahli hospital when it was a piece of shrapnel. The fire at the Rafah camp where they said that it was an Israeli strike and it turned out that it was an Israeli strike. Nearby in Ham, there must have been some other combustible material in the area. They have mass graves, the rapes. Hamas keeps punching out these stories. The world keeps buying them. Which one of these particular fake Hamas atrocities really grabbed your attention? You're tearing your hair out and saying, like, literally, that is not the evidence that is in front of us.
The glaze.
The worst one was definitely the Al-Ahli hospital in the beginning. That was like, I felt like the whole information warfare was lost on. Was that October 13th?
16th.
16th? Okay, so you're like barely 2 weeks into this, and already you have like a massive event that is being reported in an incredibly crazy way.
Look at how he tried to sound smart by knowing the exact date, and then he was fucking off. Maybe little bro shouldn't have said a date at all, and just shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, really, I think the important thing to stress too, because people lose sight of this sometimes, it's like there will be these big events where misinformation will get reported, but it's not really the big events that matter. It's like all of the little lies that you tell up to a certain point, because when you've prepared somebody with a bunch of little lies, a bigger lie becomes very easy to believe. So the issue isn't even so much these big stories, which they are an issue and that is bad, but because people have been conditioned to believe so many smaller things along the way, it makes the larger thing easier to believe. Like if you are to believe that Israel is targeting civilians and bombing hospitals and schools, and every single day I hear that 36 hospitals have been bombed, or however many schools have been bombed, or however many journalists or medics have been killed, and then the next day I hear, oh, well, Israel decided to bomb a hospital, kill 500 people. That's pretty believable. Like you would think you would believe it without a second thought, and yeah, that's problematic.
I mean, it was exhausting. They're waging a war of information attrition. I can say, as a government spokesman for the first part of the war, I'm not anymore. But it was like playing a game of whack-a-mole that you never know where the next allegation is going to come up. And I imagine if people are being constantly fed fake story after fake story, then literally they'll believe anything. And then I'm tearing my hair out and wondering, why are there so many people who will automatically believe anything Hamas says, not believe what Israel says? Why is it so easy for Hamas to game international public opinion and get away with it?
I mean, in my opinion, I think the crucial error was when Israel began to negotiate through, they call it capsule theory, or it was called capsule theory, the idea that you can extricate these individual Arab countries in negotiating peace, that when you look 50 or 60 years ago, it's easy to be sympathetic towards the story of Israel against the world, the David and Goliath, but now we're so far removed from all of
that sympathy did very much for Israel because, War of Independence, it's up with its back against the wall, and these Jews who had just went through the Holocaust and those who managed to escape just in time are fighting with the arms they're able to smuggle on a couple of planes from Czechoslovakia.
True, I mean, you can argue that, but in 73, I'm pretty sure the United States was eager to replace every single lost piece of armor, every single lost munition, without a question asked. It was so much financial support.
It was a lot of financial support in 73.
In 73, the United States threatened Israel in some very serious ways. It's not true they gave them an absolute carte blanche. The way that Kissinger conducted his negotiations with Golda Meir, she had to stand firm against the US and say, we're not your client state. We're going to do what we need to protect ourselves.
I understand those were the statements, but the United States was a massive backer of Israel, which means with that backing comes some degree of responsibility as well, right? Like it's not just carte blanche to do whatever, but like the idea of marching your armies north towards Beirut or crossing, was it I think it was the west bank of the Sinai River, like on the way to Cairo, or the Suez. On the way to Cairo. I mean,
oh, true. In 73, I think the Israeli IDF was approaching Beirut and Cairo. That was some spooky shit. Because the whole world was like, wait a second, is Israel about to capture like the capitals of 2 neighboring countries right now?
Obviously, the United States can't be seen as backing what could become like. I'm just saying, it comes with conditions. I'm just saying that the support then was, I don't remember it, I guess I wasn't alive. It seemed like the United States was able to have all that financial support without there being colleges that were protesting, chanting death to Israel in the same way.
This was the time of the end.
Damascus, not Beirut, no? I thought the armies were closing in on Beirut or something. I thought they were getting close. This is my understanding. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Arab oil.
He didn't correct me, so I must be right.
Embargo as well. But specifically, if we move to today, I'm trying to understand why it is so easy for Hamas to gain public opinion. And the same media outlets that fall for Hamas propaganda lie after propaganda lie. Like you're repeating a lie from a terror organization that told you that it didn't abduct or massacre civilians and continued saying that even as it released them. Why does the world keep falling for Hamas propaganda? Like explain to me on like a macro level and a micro level as well.
I mean, I think it's like I said, I think that now, like if you grow up, like even my impression was just Israel versus Palestine. You can't even really, it's kind of weird to say this, but you can't really say the word Arab in the United States without it feeling like it's coming from a racist person. You don't like just saying, like calling somebody like an Arab, even saying that feels racist. It feels weird. Just in the United States, it's just not a thing that we say much.
And it's a language they're using themselves. You see that.
No, I understand, but I'm saying,
you hear them chanting in Arabic, Min Maya al Maya Palestine Arabia, from water to water, Palestine will be Arab.
Yeah, I just in the West, especially, I think I shouldn't say in the West, in the United States, especially after 9/11, we had to deal with a whole bunch of, we had a lot of hatred towards Al Qaeda, and then the Taliban, and then generally the Middle East, and so we kind of had to rein in some anti-Arab, I guess you call it Islamophobic sentiment or whatever in the United States.
No, you still need to be honest and call a spade because extreme political correctness.
I'm just explaining where it comes from. I'm just saying that when that's the background, that's what I grew up in, right? And then when I look to Israel-Palestine,
he's so mad.
All I see growing up is you've got this massive country of Israel where people are outside sipping coffee, watching, Iron Dome intercept rockets, and then my impression is that the Palestinians
should really be inside if there are rockets there.
Sure, yeah, but then the impression is the Palestinians are obviously, far less equipped to deal with combat. You look at the death sides on both, the death figures on both sides. Like on an immediate surface glance, it looks incredibly one-sided, incredibly horrible. It doesn't look like the Israeli-Arab conflict. It looks like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
You see, Israel is essentially the victim of its own success because it's been able to invest so much in defensive technologies and create this semblance of normality in the most abnormal circumstances. But the Palestinians are just better at playing the victim card.
I mean, arguably, that's in some ways kind of it can be the story of history, right? That the Arab countries were so successful through conquest, that the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire, and all the Arab countries looking around for who's going to be the next leader. It has because they were so successful.
You can become victims of your own success.
Well, now they've been,
well, that's kind of true. I think that's maybe one of the reasons why the Arab states or caliphates weren't as good at conflict or combat as well, like military stuff.
Powered by their success, and because the Jews had so much trouble in history, but they finally got a country, right? They have one country to go to, one country to defend. Their backs are against the wall. It's annihilation the entire time. Those set of circumstances like forced, really wise diplomatic choices, really wise military choices.
Victory has defeated you, right? Is what they.
That yeah, sometimes you can become, I guess, strengthened by adversity, and sometimes the victim of your success.
And there's definitely Israel's strength that it's strengthened by adversity. But it's funny to hear you talking about saying, look, in the early days, Israel had its back against the wall. It was surrounded by Arab armies. But now we're in a reality where Israel is being attacked on 7 fronts by Iran and its proxy armies, from Lebanon and Syria and Gaza and the West Bank and Yemen and Iraq and Iran itself, and internationally as well, around the diaspora, when you consider that Iran's
7 fronts.
Evil supreme leader praised the College Intifada as part of the resistance front. And you've got the same dynamic of Israel being a back against the wall, a small minority country, or a tiny minority of the world's population, surrounded by terrorists who want to kill us.
It's not the same, though. It's not even close to the same. Being attacked by proxy armies, that's a good thing, because it means normal armies aren't attacking you.
Well,
for
it's
diplomatic reasons.
It's not a good thing that 50,000 Israelis were displaced.
That's
in the
true,
north
but
now.
like, would you rather be attacked or be would you rather be instigated by Hezbollah and have Jordan and Saudi Arabia helping to intercept your rockets from Iran, or would you rather have Saudi Arabia and Iran and Jordan and Syria and Lebanon and everybody?
Hezbollah has the
I'm not sure, actually. Seriously? Really?
8th largest weapons missile stockpile in the world. We call it a proxy army. It's an army. I mean, it's by far the most powerful army on Israel's border. The fact that it's acting in league. I mean, it's an allied army of Iran. It doesn't make a difference.
But it says something that Jordan and Egypt are not attacking Israel. Even when the Muslim Brotherhood came into power in Egypt, that there was still that letter that was sent, and
But Israel is still surrounded on 7 fronts, and people aren't able to zoom out. And
okay, you said the front. What are the 7 fronts? Wait, when you say that?
Gaza.
Okay.
West Bank. Lebanon. where we have
Gaza and West Bank. The West Bank? What?
daily rocket and suicide drone attacks. Syria, we've had rockets coming from Syria. Iraq, last week we intercepted a UAV coming from Iraq. Yemen, yesterday we intercepted a ballistic missile sent by the Houthis from Yemen. And Iran as well, which launched 350 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and UAVs at Israel just a few weeks ago. We've already forgotten about it.
And I'm sympathetic. I can be sympathetic towards the enemies that you have, but I mean, what a list of enemies to have. You've got Gaza that has been flattened by 8 months of military operations.
Oh, good. Yes, thank you. Yes, okay, thank you. Jesus, yeah, go through these. What?
Military operations. You've got
after they burn whole
Hezbollah, which is
families
competing
alive,
with. That's true. It's horrible. But I'm just in terms of military capabilities, right? You've got Syria, which is a failed state. You've got Yemen, which is a failed state. You've got Iran, which is scary, but there's some distance between you and them. And you've got
No, but that's
people
what
in the
makes them so scary that they're failed states, because there's no way that you can deal with them in the context of the international rules-based order or treat them within the context of diplomacy. These are rogue terrorist actors exploiting the chaos in the Middle East. And Israel is trying to create some semblance of normality and Western freedom in a world surrounded by religious lunatics who are trying to exploit chaos and anarchy to destroy us.
And I agree with this. There's a quote that I read this. I don't know if it was by Kissinger, but it was something like, I think Israel has discovered the weakness of their strength, and the Palestinians have discovered the strength of their weakness. I think Israel has to remove from itself the mindset that they're surrounded by people that need to be defeated militarily. Because like you said before, Hamas is never defeating Israel in a military engagement. They're winning in the propaganda war. They're winning in the information war. They're winning in international
opinion. To wear Israel down by attrition when you're able to.
Why can't you agree? Why people that do this one-sided shit trigger me so much? Why can't you agree with a single thing I say that's critical of Israel? You can't do this. I think at this point, I think I've picked up on it. I don't know if I must say something else positive about Israel, but at this point, I'm like, okay, are you really not going to give me a single thing? There's not a single piece of criticism that we can.
Ducked so many hostages into Gaza. Threaten not to release them. Undermine Israeli sense of personal security that people don't want to go back and rebuild the kibbutzim because every street corner is haunted. And you have daily attacks from Gaza, from Lebanon, from Yemen every single day. They're trying to wear this country down by attrition, to make it impossible to conduct a normal economy, impossible to bring tourists into the country, impossible to get investment, and to wind this country down into the ground. And the only reason it isn't happening is because the Israeli people have incredible grit.
I understand and I agree, but you're not defeating Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran with missiles. I don't think that's where the future is going to go. It has to be on this diplomatic and
let's talk
international
specifically about this information. What you're saying, Israel's struggling to make its case because people are zooming in and they're seeing Israel, Palestine, and they feel a bit uncomfortable about saying the word Arab. We had this conversation yesterday. You were asking me, why does Israel suck at PR? Why is it finding it so difficult to make its case to the world? So I'll turn the question back to you. Okay, given that reality, given this set of circumstances, let's take your analysis. How do you think Israel should be doing a better job of fighting this information war, given the battlefield as you see it?
I'll be honest. I am not enviable of any leader in Israel because it's easy, obviously, and I'm sure you know this as well. It's easy from the sidelines to sit and criticize, especially because yeah, of course.
So easy.
I'm so diplomatic here, man. Look at me. I'm acknowledging your pain and suffering. I understand you guys have a lot to work through. I'm building a bridge in real time here to this guy's position. Okay.
The critic is not the man in the arena or whatever. So I am sympathetic to leadership, but I feel like every single part of the Israeli apparatus, government, military, financial, whatever, has to go towards solving the Palestinian problem. There has to be like a permanent end to that conflict.
From your mouth to Allah's ears, but you have any idea how we do that?
I mean, people have talked about the Emirati plan. I just spoke with Yossi Beilin, who talks about he wants to do like a confederation of 2 states. You've got 2 staters. You've got whatever.
Do you have your favorite magic solution?
Do I have my favorite magic solution? Honestly, all of them rank above the status quo. Whether it's the Emirati plan, whether it's a 1 state, 1 vote, whether it's a 2-state solution with the 67 borders that resembles the Clinton
borders. If we were able to solve this conflict, make it go away, that would be the best thing that could be done for Israel's image. But given the fact that the war is continuing, and the conflict continues because the Palestinians are still committed to a forever war, that they don't accept the legitimacy of the state of Israel and have repeatedly on past occasions thrown out any peace deal when it meant coming to terms with the fact that Israel as a Jewish state had a right to exist. How does Israel make the case better to the world, specifically to young and liberal audiences? Because we're seeing this massive gulf where 80% of Americans support Israel versus Hamas, and you get to the young generation, like it's 55-45. That's a really dangerous split.
You were playing video games?
No.
Okay, well, I grew up
not since I was 10 and I had Harry Potter on the PlayStation.
What analogy was what video game analogy was I going to use there?
So my background when I got into streaming was I was a professional StarCraft player. So StarCraft is a real-time strategy game. So you're playing, you're building dudes, you're mining resources, you're making armies, and you're fighting to kill your dude's army. One of the things that you learn when you reach higher levels in probably any real-time strategy game is you get into a scenario where you have to make a decision, and you've got like a good choice and you've got a bad choice. But what you learn when you get to really high levels of play is there's a worse choice, and the worst choice is always indecision. That sometimes making a bad choice and then moving from there is better, because people, I think people fall into this trap of thinking that there's a timer on the screen, whether you're talking Israel-Palestine or you're talking a game of StarCraft 2, there's a timer on the screen where we can sit and wait and think, and it's like, I'm not sure what the right decision is, but let's wait. This is true in the world of business as well, that sometimes you just have to make a decision and go, and if you just sit and wait, the world will pass you by.
There's
and all
a
of the
philosophical
bad
metaphor that describes it in terms of a donkey that's facing two identical bales of hay.
Oh,
like
you starve.
and it can't decide, do I go for this, do I go for this? And in the end it ends up starving because of the same dynamic.
So whatever the solution looks like for Israel-Palestine, and whatever it looks like in the future, the delusion that has fallen over Israel is that the can be kicked down the road, that other states can be brought in for peace, that the Abraham Accords can be signed, that an embassy can be moved around.
Well, that's not a delusion. I mean, we do now have free and normalized relations with the UAE, with Bahrain and Morocco, and that's
yeah. Then you also got October 7th. Please say that after. Do I say that after? Yeah. Then you also got the largest terrorist attack of all time right after, right? Please say that. Please follow. If I follow up with that, that'd be the greatest fucking burn. Please. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to say something else that's not as base as that.
Fantastic step for the Middle East, regardless of its impact on the Palestinians.
But has it made Israelis feel any safer?
Absolutely. It's made Israelis feel much more plugged into a region where...
What? Come on. Has it made you feel safer? No. You just got a huge terrorist attack after.
Before they felt that they were a fortress island nation, and now they feel, hey, we're able to go and walk freely around Arab countries. By the way, many of them feel safer walking around Dubai speaking Hebrew than they would walking around London.
Sure, but how much safer do they feel in 2020 than they did in 2018 after the Abraham Accords for Saudi Arabia or for what, Sudan or the UAE, or I don't even remember.
Look, I even bring up Saudi Arabia here, and he doesn't correct me. Why did so many people let me think Saudi Arabia was part of the Abraham? I'm pretty sure oh shit, I let my Israeli propaganda slip there. I'm pretty sure Israel was on the path to sweeping Saudi Arabia into these Abraham Accords or something. I read this somewhere at some point, because even he doesn't correct me here. Fuck you guys. 300 evolved. Like at the end of the day, are they thinking like, oh my goodness, like
that history was moving in the right direction, and the awful, completely unjustified international boycott of Israel was beginning to end, because people in the region can actually talk sense and realize that it makes sense for Israel to be part of the region. But I'm trying to understand. Look, what I'm trying to
think of in my survey of Israeli history, and I could be wrong, I don't remember any of the major wars starting because of a disagreement with Sudan, or disagreement with the UAE, or disagreement with Saudi Arabia. They took part in the same way Cuba stayed for
the Abraham Accords was so important, because it was a moment when Israel was looking at these countries saying, for years, we have no direct conflict with you, have no border dispute, we have absolutely no reason to be enemies. Let's just be friends, because we've always wanted that. We've never had any bones to pick with the Emirates, and the Emirates said, sure, okay, and that normalization is a great thing, but specifically on the Palestinian conflict, yes, okay, it would be nice if we could solve the conflict, and there are many reasons.
That would be nice. It is essential. It is the number one.
It'd be nice if we could figure that out.
Israelis feel traumatized that in the past they've made risks for peace, whether it's the withdrawal from Gaza, the withdrawal from Lebanon, I don't want to get into the dynamic. They've blown up in their faces. I'm asking you, in the absence of being able to solve this, and I wish we could solve it, but given that the conflict is going to endure because the Palestinians,
then your country is probably going to be destroyed. What is my answer?
Refuse to accept any Jewish state in any borders whatsoever. How do we appeal better to the world? How do we defeat this Hamas strategy of gaming international public opinion and wearing them down to this numbness to the truth by lie after lie after lie until they're willing to believe anything?
I mean, from the Israeli side, I think Begin and earlier, I think even Ben-Gurion said that the scariest thing that Israel could face in its early days was a staunch advocate for peace on the Arab side. That somebody like Sadat showing up and making overtures towards peace would be unstoppable from the Israeli side. You can't fight against an opponent that is offering something like that, because you would look insane. And I think that,
I don't remember that quote.
I don't remember if it was Ben-Gurion or if I don't remember if it was the Prime Minister after him, between that and the 73 war. But the idea that a strong Arab leader that was a staunch advocate for peace would be somebody that you couldn't deny that overture. And when Sadat finally came in and did that, when he made a speech in front of the Knesset, and that was an unstoppable thing. I feel like if Israel was empowering the Palestinians in an undeniable way that it could show the world, I feel like that moves you in a direction to where eventually Palestinians would have to feel some kind of pressure, because it feels like the history from the Arab-Israeli side has always been the Arabs always gave Israel like the perfect excuse for expansion in 67, the perfect excuse for whatever early territorial conquest, expanding borders in 48 from what the 47 partition would have looked like. Now it feels like on the opposite ends of things, it feels like Palestinians always have an excuse, whether it's another raid in the West Bank, whether it's another soldier that doesn't get convicted for a crime, whether it's another NGO or human rights or whatever UN group saying something about another war in Gaza. It feels like Israel's always giving those excuses to the Palestinians to continue to fight. And it's not just them. I'm speaking to you as an Israeli spokesperson, so I'm coming down I'm coming down very hard on Israel. There are definitely problems in the international community, in the Arab world, on the Palestinian side that I talk about a lot as well. But I'm just
so I know I'm being mean, so I reel it back a little. I build a bridge. Okay, I know it's not fair.
Saying for the agency of the Israeli side, there has to be a come to Jesus moment, or a come to, I don't know what you would say, but for me, Christian, come to Moses moment. Okay, Abraham, whatever. Yeah, right. Where the PA is empowered. The PA was the PA was empowered with enough money to go into the Gaza Strip with a boss there. This is a man who he wears a suit and tie. He talks to Israeli leaders. He shaves his beard. This is a guy who should be your strongest advocate, that you are empowering in every single way possible to be the face of the PA.
Despite the fact that his administration continues to pay salaries to terrorists sitting in jail and stipends to the families.
Listen, Begin signed peace with Egypt, and he was part of the Lehi. I mean, everybody has had issues. It has to be put. It can't be intractable. It can't be the same excuse. You don't think the Lehi at the beginning was?
What I'm trying to understand here.
Go ahead.
Bottom line, you're saying, short of being able to solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Israel is basically screwed when it comes to the information war in this dynamic. The world will buy all the little lies that the Palestinians tell.
I think so. In non-state actor conflict, I think yeah.
What I was trying to do as a spokesperson was to speak not only to the broadcast media and the print media, but try to get on social media, okay? Twitter, Instagram. I even opened a TikTok and did all sorts of little trends that slightly humiliated me because I'm trying to get to the young audience. Now here I am speaking to you.
This is W simply because Destiny's dressed nice in that in fucking sweatpants. Fuck you guys. think people tend to forget that just because Destiny is pro-Israel in general and spends most of his time fighting pro-Palestinians, that doesn't mean he's some far-right Zionist. He's more center-right on this issue, which is why he'll have disagreements with someone like Elon, a former spokesman for the Israeli government, and will not hesitate to criticize Israel. Based. Elon would ask Destiny for his own perspective and then keep interjecting. Very annoying. However, Destiny put more studying in 7 months on this than most of the talking heads in their whole lives. Based. True. Desi is not there to shout, "Yay, Israel." He is there to tell the way he sees things. Appreciate the fact that he gave an outsider perspective instead of feeling attacked. Base. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
In terms
okay, enough glazing.
of his conversation with that West Bank person that I mentioned,
now he's going to clarify. Now he knows that we went to the West Bank and spoke to Palestinians.
Okay. On his channel, he said he did admit that was the most extreme person that he spoke to. While
now
he
he's going to caveat everything.
And
Okay, well done, buddy.
He thinks of as being a bit.
Do you know what's happening here? I hate this. Evil, evil, evil. These are evil people. Hold on, wait. Who can call us out? Does anybody know what just happened? What this is related to? Motherfuckers. You guys are all failing right now. You've learned nothing. Fuck you. Do you know what this sounds like? Remember when I said before, here's what I thought would happen. If I were to bet somebody, hey, you said that vaccines, kill people. I bet you $1,000 that that's not the case. My assumption would have been either they would take the bet because they're delusional, or they would reject the bet because they are unconfident in their position or whatever. But what would happen is all of a sudden people would actually become far more nuanced and measured in their approach to the conversation, and they would start to caveat with information that they should have already had available to them. I noticed now that Vadim's original claim, it sounds like the original claim was basically Destiny and Lonerbox, according to Hassan, were funded by the Mossad to go and give an Israeli propagandist tour. But now, all of a sudden, Vadim knows, okay, well, sure, they did go to the West Bank, and yeah, they did say that that one Zionist was the most extreme person that they talked to, and they did actually attack it, right? Oh, motherfucker. So you know that you were lying before. You know that you were fucking full of shit. You know that it's not at all how you were representing it. You have the information is there. Fuck you.
Person that he spoke to while
now
he
he's going to caveat everything. Okay, well done, buddy.
He thinks of as being a bit of like pushback over the course of the conversations that they had. I did not look at it that way, but he did say one or two things about while they were at a certain place there was a mass shooting event years ago, and he did bring that up. So in that small way, he was kind of maybe.
It's okay. It's fine. No, I don't care.
Challenging that person in that moment. So wanted to get that all out there. Maybe there's.
Lonerbox, are you there?
Yeah, I heard people were talking about me.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, okay, so first of all, think that we already all know, and I know that you know that Yishai Fleischer was really angry with my coverage of that trip, right?
I mean, he wasn't angry enough that he didn't, he used it as propaganda on his own channel.
No, with my coverage of the trip.
What is that?
Thing that I uploaded to my channel. You acknowledge that
but
you know this because
sure.
we've spoken about it. You know that he was angry with what I commented on that interview for my channel, right?
Of course, because it's his job to be to basically put a good face forward.
Yeah, to do propaganda. He was a propagandist. Neither me nor Lonerbox would say anything different. That guy was like the Israeli West Bank spokesperson, one of maybe the most popular in the world, one of the most popular Israeli West Bank spokespeople. Yes, no shit, he does propaganda.
And whether
is the guy he's talking about the one in the newest vid? Yes, his name is is it Yishai Fleischer? That doesn't sound right. Yishai Fleischer? That sounds more right. Yishai Fleischer? This guy. He's like one of the, I think he's the Israeli spokesperson for the very small Israeli-controlled section of Hebron, which is a city in the West Bank that's divided heavily between, there's a Jewish side and there's a Palestinian side. But this guy goes on shows all the time. He's like one of the biggest like West Bank spokesmen. So yeah, of course, this guy's always going to be doing. I'm not even necessarily insulting him, but he's a huge advocate for these settlements and everything. Of course,
people like that are I guess what I'm saying is that I don't think it really matters that much that he was offended by that. If you were countering in the way that I think anyone should in that situation, he never would have wanted to use your footage on his channel to begin with.
Well, he used like B-roll that was not on my channel. I did not put that on my channel. He used B-roll. Like, he used just raw footage.
Like, these people have never spoken to anyone that they disagree with in their entire lives. Like, do you think that there's going to be a person where, like, as soon as you meet them, they're like, hey, how's it going? And you're like, it's not going, actually. And hay is for horses. Oh. Well, I'm sorry. Well, would you like to, go on our tour? No, I actually wouldn't like to do anything with you, bitch. And it's not a tour, okay? I'm not paying you for anything. It's more like a walkthrough of the city. And I'm going to be angry the whole... What are you expecting? What do you think the interaction is going to look like? It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, of course you can do that. If you're a settler and you do like an interview with Louis Theroux, you can clip out the parts of you talking and the bits that you like and just leave out the rest. But would that be Louis Theroux's fault that they got to do that?
I contacted you and I asked you what is the most substantial pushback that you did with that guy, and then you sent me what you commented on. Mm-hmm. So are you telling me that's the most did you not show me the most substantial pushback that you did?
I showed you my coverage of it, yeah, where I called him an insane settler who wants to conquer all the land, where he basically has this equivocation about wanting to deport anyone he considers a jihadist, which, let's face it, would be pretty much all of them. I also spoke about how he was lying about Baruch Goldstein treating Arab doctors when he had in fact refused to treat Arab doctors. I also mentioned how he lied about Baruch Goldstein getting radicalized by the violence.
While you were talking to him, you didn't do any of these things while you were talking to him.
Wait, why? Why does that matter? Why does that matter if I'm going to do commentary for it afterwards?
He was able to use it as he used it.
Look at how weak the. So what is the standard here? If you're going to talk to somebody on the other side, you have to make sure that every microsecond is accounted for such that they can't clip or cut anything out of the entire video that they're going to do propaganda with?
He presented you guys, obviously he's not going to post anything on his channel that he thinks makes him look remotely bad. And you gave him propaganda, basically. That's...
Oh, what they should ask is, can you give me an example of somebody who's engaged with anybody like this in a positive way, or that's done it on their platform, or...
How did I give him propaganda? He was the one he could have just filmed himself saying these things.
And not I don't know, man. If I was hanging out with somebody who is the spokesperson for Ben Gavir, I would be way more on their ass than either of you guys were.
Okay, so you tell me that. You tell me what. So you think I am not allowed then to just interview someone, let them speak freely, because I'm planning on editing content and doing something with it different from just the raw footage afterwards that pushes my opinion forward?
I think that.
How do I legitimize him? I'm a fucking nobody. What are you talking about?
I think with someone like that, because I watched other clips that you guys did. That's why I came to you. I saw a bunch of clips, some that were on his channel, and I think a couple of others that were uploaded to the guy who followed you guys around with the camera. I was frankly shocked when I was watching those at just how much there was of you guys just sitting back.
Frankly shocked, bro. You don't even know anything about the conflict. You're a fucking retard. How can you don't even know enough to be shocked? What the fuck are you talking about?
And just letting this guy just act really fucking friendly with you guys, and that's his job. He wants to put a kind face onto settler violence to begin with. Now, look, do I think that you went into it thinking I'm going to give this guy a layup? I'm totally going to make this guy look.
Destiny debate him. Vadim will never talk to me. This is the type of guy who will avoid me like the fucking plague because he knows it would be a really bad combo for him.
No, I don't think you did, but I think you did fail at something that you should have done. I mean, morally, I look at it you should have, you had a moral obligation given how fucking horrible what he is representing.
Listen to how fucking soy and cringe this is. Let's assume that you actually did do a poor job and you could have done a better job interviewing, right? He's expressing this as though you've had a significant moral failing because I didn't interview him optimally. I've committed a moral crime here. I've actually done something terrible. Come on, bro. It's not like Hitler came on and gave an uninterrupted, fucking rally or something. Jesus.
To not challenge him more, the fact that at the end of it all, he took selfies with you numerous times and whatnot. I for someone like that, I think that the way that you guys should end things is just him thinking that you're a dick.
So I should
and how many conversations have you had with any of these people? Oh, none. Nobody talks to you. Nobody cares about you fucking losers. But that's because they're not interested in any actual understanding or information gathering or debating other perspectives. They just want to hear they just want to preach to the choir over and over and over and over and over again. That's it.
Just fucking fought with him and maybe canceled it and ended up canceling the fucking trip half the day earlier. Or why? So by your logic, just to be clear, by your logic, we shouldn't have talked to him at all.
right? We should have been so aggressive right at the very start that he basically would have wanted to cancel the trip. That's what you're saying we should have done.
Because Louis Theroux is not massively confrontational with people he talks to. So if Louis Theroux does an interview with a settler, and that settler just grabs a few of the clips of them talking, but they just leave out the bits of the documentary that they don't like and put it on their channel and say, look, here's my conversation with Louis Theroux, and then they add some commentary afterwards, does that mean Louis Theroux did propaganda for them?
Dude, we've already...
The answer to that's no. The answer to that is clearly a fucking no. So no, I did not do propaganda for Yishai Fleischer. Yeah, there you go.
I came to you, and in that Louis Theroux documentary, there are questions that
and you just used the exact same answer that you were always going to use, which is the interpretation of the new crowd that you are beholden to. That's all it is. That's all it is. Because again, the only content that I've ever used on my channel with Yishai is me shitting on him. That's my content. That's my product. That's it. He can clip. By the way, he can actually. So even with my commentary, if that was the only thing that was up, he could have actually still just clipped all the raw footage and just taken out my commentary. And apparently, I still would have been helping him do propaganda. Like I understand.
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't even think that the extent to which you quote unquote shat on him on your channel, like yes, you definitely went at him way harder than you did when you were talking to him, but like I still don't think
you didn't even call him a bad word. You didn't even use slurs against him. You didn't even tell him that all of Israel should be destroyed. In your commentary, you didn't say one time about how much better the world would be if all of Israel was nuked and every single Zionist was killed immediately. Like come on, dude.
Okay, what should I say that made him more responsible?
I was pleased to see you shit on him to the extent that you did, but given who he is, in my opinion, I feel like you never
should have shot harder.
That he is like,
Loner should ask, especially if these guys are going to be so fucking critical. Then don't be afraid to ask a real fucking question. Okay, fine, Vadim. What's one criticism that that Loner or that we should have given? What's one criticism that we should have given that was absent from the video? Tell me, dipshit. He won't have a single thing to say.
Kind of part of the Ben Gvir squad. You didn't put that into perspective. I mean, like, I
said that he's a settler who wants to conquer the West Bank and kick out all the Arabs. But because of you, I should have been. Oh, by the way, but he also is a Ben Gvir person. What the fuck?
Yes. That's pretty.
And it was in the end. It's disappointing to not throw that one. Okay, that's okay. That's
yeah.
So, okay, yes, I understand. You're looking for anything. Okay,
I think that. I mean, look. My general point here is that I don't think that you were kind of like, either definitely when you were talking to him, but when
you've already conceded. This is a nothing. This is a nothing objection.
See, is it just because he's heard the name Ben Gvir before, and that's why it would be important to associate him with him? Because the only reason why, do you know why Ben Gvir is such a crazy person? It's because
for anything. Okay,
I think that's pretty.
And it was in the end. It's disappointing to not throw that one. Okay, that's.
The whole point here is that I don't think that you were kind of like,
nothing objection. Like
when you were
to not throw that one. Okay, Ben Gvir person. What the fuck wants to conquer the West Bank?
Your squad. You didn't put that into perspective. I mean, like,
hold on.
I'm saying that.
This is why Ben Gvir is a bad person. It's because he's
a settler who wants to conquer the West Bank and kick out all the Arabs.
Yes. Ben Gvir is a West Bank settler. That's why he's such a radical, extreme, fucking crazy lunatic who wants to kick out all the settlers. The same probably as Yishai Fleischer. They might be the same fucking political party. I don't know. That's the issue. Why do you have to say the name Ben Gvir like that would meaningfully change? It's so funny because in a way, one of the things that I argue about sometimes is people don't even talk about a thing. They use like proxy issues for the thing. Lonerbox is giving the substantive criticism of Yishai Fleischer, and Vadim wants to hear the proxy criticism. No, I don't care why he's actually bad. Just associating with Ben Gvir, who's bad. Like,
but because of you, I should have been. Oh, by the way, but he also is a Ben Gvir person. What the fuck?
Yes. That's pretty.
And it was in the end. It's disappointing to not throw that one. Okay, that's okay. That's
yeah.
So, okay, yes, I understand. You're looking for anything. Okay,
I think that. I mean, like, look. My general point here is that I don't think that you were kind of like, either definitely when you were talking to him, but when
you've already conceded. This is like a nothing. This is a nothing objection. We can just move on. This is a nothing objection. Like by saying, by the way, he's also affiliated with Ben Gvir, even though he supports all the things that Ben Gvir supports and all the things on top of that.
It's not a nothing objection.
It is. It's absolutely nothing objection. It's just because every detail. So what if you said that? I could have just been like, oh, but you didn't mention that you lied about treating Arabs, because again, like we both know that I know the history of this conflict better than you do. So I could have easily just picked out little nits to yours as well.
I'll let you go on to the next thing, but it's like saying that it's not substantial. No, that's an extremely substantial. Like the fact that you like. If people like this, I believe that we have a duty to not make them look good in these situations and not have conversations that basically, because that's...
Vadim is trapped in like 2016. It's so cringe. He's like posting on fucking BreadTube, like, we gotta fight the alt-right pipeline, guys. We got it. Like, bro, why is anybody even talking to him? Does he even have like an online presence anymore? What?
They want to present themselves to the public as just like both reasonable, rational. That's like why at the end of your conversations, like, you guys, I'm not talking about that particular clip that you played, but the last shoot that you guys did, you did another selfie together, and and you shook on it, and he was like, well, I'm glad we could agree to disagree. He says something to that effect, and you make this like this fucking murderous, bloodthirsty motherfucker look pretty like tame and like just like friendly and like somebody that you can like vibe with. It's the same problem that I have with often like a lot of the hangouts that Destiny did
with Nick Fuentes. Say it.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, good
so,
one, dude.
Yeah, it's not you can disagree with it, but it's not an unsubstantial. To say that, I think you're just dodging. I think you're deflecting, and it's weak.
Nothing you said there says anything I did was dodging or deflecting or weak. We both agree that he was angry with my content, with the way that I covered that content. He was angry with my commentary on that interaction. And that's the only Yishai Fleischer related content that I've put up on my channel. That's my content. The raw footage, the B-roll, the stuff that he could have easily clipped out for my commentary that he can use himself, that's his content. My content made him angry, okay? That's it. And also, it's just as well. It's also just as well that like at least with me commenting on people like him, like there are at least like some people in my audience who could be like swayed by that away from positions that they might sympathize with, because I actually know how to talk to these people and you guys don't. But in any case, you're also aware though, you keep calling this like a propaganda tour. You think meeting Nabil al-Kurd to talk about his situation in Sheikh Jarrah, that would be an Israeli propaganda tour?
Oh, true. Can I remember the history of this city, of this neighborhood? Sheikh Jarrah was the place that, I think in 1967, Israel kicked a bunch of Palestinians out of some places. In the War of Independence in 1948, a lot of Palestinians fled. And in the next 20 years, some of them tried to go back to the territory that Israel had conquered, and they weren't allowed back in. They either got shot and killed, or they just were turned away, or they just couldn't get back. And so when 1967 happened, and some people were kicked out, not everybody fled that time because they were like, well, fuck, if we if we leave, we're not going to be able to get back in. So a lot more Arabs stayed after 1967. Some were expelled from Sheikh Jarrah, and then I think some came back to the neighborhood, and then there's been a ton of fighting over who actually has the documents to these homes. And you get into this weird world where like Jews had been living there. At its worst version, I think like Jews had been living there prior to 1948. Jordan conquers it in 1948. Arabs are brought in and they live there until 1967. Then Israel conquers it. And then there's like this huge back and forth on like who has, in some cases, I think Palestinians were there first, Arabs were there first. In other cases, I think Jews were there first, and it just gets really weird. That's a really rough one. But we talked to the Sheikh Jarrah guy, not guy. There are multiple people that are still living in that neighborhood. But
that's one moment where you guys were.
It's not one moment. That was like 2 or 3 days we were in the West Bank, and that was just West Bank related stuff. So
wait, Sheikh Jarrah is a neighborhood in East Jerusalem, right? Am I totally wrong there? Does that count as yeah. Wait, does East Jerusalem count as the West Bank? It doesn't. It's not, I don't know. Maybe it just means like pro-Palestinian areas. Okay.
I've looked, unless there is a great deal of stuff that because I've looked at pretty much everything that is on that channel that guy posted who shot your trip. There's nothing that I've seen there that does not lead me to believe that overall it was a propaganda trip. And
the camera guy, Yobel, was a secret Israeli? The guy that we had to pick up in another country? What? Hold on, real quick. Wait, does he have a public-facing?
Allow me to.
Here's our Jewish Mossad. Let's see, what kind of stuff? What did he just say? He said, nothing on his channel led me to believe that he wasn't a propaganda plant. Hold on.
That guy posted who shot your trip. Look, unless there is a great deal of stuff that because I've looked at pretty much everything that is on that channel that guy posted who shot your trip. There's nothing that I've seen there that does not lead me to believe that overall it was a propaganda trip.
Is he talking about his channel in general, or just like the videos that we got posted?
Uganda, a sanctuary for the wild.
Israel is well known as being obsessed with.
Misty canopies,
no, I know. I think he just means the footage from the trip.
Savannas. Every corner teems with life. From the elusive shoebill in the swamps to the great apes of the rainforest, this land pulses. A prime spot for primate enthusiasts.
I was surprised when the Mossad provided me with an African photographer, or photographs in Africa, I guess.
Guide and the rangers. These are wild animals capable of
These are wild animals? Seriously? Oh, he's racist like an Israeli.
Destroying you in mere seconds.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. He was talking about not the person on the screen, obviously. Sorry.
Trip. And
propaganda for who? Propaganda for who? The government?
And I'm not saying that you went into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to do propaganda for Israel.
Yeah, you think I'm a useful idiot. It's fine. You think yeah, I'm asking you.
To begin with, they would not let you do that to begin with if they did not go in thinking like, we're going to get something pretty good out of this.
They would really.
Like, Israel doesn't give a fuck about us, bro. Do you really think that, like, Netanyahu is like, oh shit, we got the commander. We've got intel that Destiny and Lonerbox are coming to Israel. We need to do a thorough analysis of them to make sure that everything they film is going to serve the country's end. Okay, I need some Jewish sounds here. That'll get Nazi real fast. Like, nobody gave a fuck about us, little bro. Like, we're just random streamer dudes. No one cares.
Really, you think the Israeli government wouldn't have let us in if they didn't think they could get something good out of it?
Yes, they
Thank you. Listen, Vadim, my good friend.
This guy listens. It's just too much. It's too much Hassan. It's just too much Hassan.
And I love you. Thank you for confirming that you do not know absolute dick about this country that you've been talking about.
About any country. Like, bro, give me a break. Come on. Maybe in North Korea this would happen.
For the last 20 months. What a fucking unbelievably brain-dead, tone-deaf, disconnected way to approach this entire fucking country. Do you know that, like, I can go to Israel tomorrow and meet with fucking B'Tselem, who literally want Israel effectively abolished?
B'Tselem, yep, is a... And we talk to people from B'Tselem, yeah.
And I can go to the West Bank with them and talk to fucking Hamas supporters tomorrow if I want to. I can go to fucking Jenin and speak to people who say that
you can take a B'Tselem person to sneak you in with a bunch of Arabs to go to fucking Jenin and talk to terrorists in the West Bank, terrorist camps.
Want Israel fucking destroyed and the Jews pushed into the sea, and I could publish all that, and I could go to B'Tselem and talk about how it's apartheid and there's a genocide. God, I could do all that tomorrow if I wanted to. The Israeli government is not going to fucking only let me in. The Israeli government is not only going to let me in because they think they can get something out of me. What the fucking mental thing to say? You don't know anything about that country. Why are you even talking about it if that's your assumption? Fuck me.
I mean, I would expect you to say all this horse shit, dude. Like, I mean, you've like said a lot of things that are really combination of either like out of.
Where is Vadim? Give me this guy's Twitter. Hey, it's Vadim. Oh, I have this guy blocked. Damn. Post. Hey, I noticed you were claiming that Lonerbox and I were paid by the Mossad and or unknowingly did propaganda for Israel on our trip there. I'd love to chat with you about it tonight if you're free. Or some other time if you're interested. Exclamation mark. Post.
Touch or lead me to sometimes to think like you just really
watch Lonerbox's head movements here. Ketamine. Watch.
Combination of either like out of touch or lead me to some.
That's the ketamine. I'm just kidding.
Times to think like you just.
This is not the same Vadim that we had from the election. That's our Vadim. This is a different Vadim.
You know what? I've had like a lot of conversations here that I was not prepared to get into, but
they never are.
Like, yeah, I just, bro, like they're like, would I be able to get into Israel to do all these things? Do you think it would be that I could do that very easily?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Based on your Twitter history, yeah. What the fuck do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if you went to Israel?
He's about to say, if I was there, I bet they would detain me at the gate. Or as soon as I landed, they would say, you're not allowed in this country. And then they would turn me around and they'd probably fly me back. Or they would lock me up in some facility for 24 hours before sending me home.
You think that I would be killed by the IDF? I don't know. What are you?
No, I'm asking you what you think. Because I know that you don't know anything about this country. But yeah, I just want to see what you think. I'm just curious.
I don't think that I would be allowed into Israel to begin with.
Why not?
Because of the fact that I post things that are very like anti-government. Like I'm completely opposed to their genocide and
Like, think about how backwards this is, okay? I don't want to do the whole Israel's the only democracy in the fucking Middle East. But, like, do you think that Israel is better or worse than, say, Egypt when it comes to letting people in who are critical of the government? Also, by the way, Egypt, I don't think they would give a fuck if you tweeted out some shit. I don't think they would fucking know you're there either, right? But, like, who do you think would be worse on this? Where do you think you're more likely to run into a problem with? Like, come on. Seriously?
I constantly call out how... like what insane liars they are. I mean, like.
Okay, so look at my. So this is. I can tell you what. So you can look at my main channel because this is what the security guy looked at when he was interviewing me. Like one of my videos on my main channel, like, and the more recent ones when I got there, was about traveling Israel being full of shit about about denying the Nakba. There was another one about Netanyahu being insanely dishonest when his interview with Lex Fridman. There's a Gaza history video that's literally covered in Palestinian flags. There's a video that he would have scrolled past.
Like, bro, didn't I make a tweet about? This is probably one of my more unhinged tweets, but. So they have this clock here, which counts the hours for how long people have been held hostage, basically, since October 7th. In Hostage Square, I think they call it in Tel Aviv. After everything I've read and experienced, nice typo, seeing this timer at Tel Aviv takes my breath away. The government put this up near the Tel Aviv Museum of Art. It measures the world's longest edge sesh, and their current record holder is just about to pass 8 months of continuous orgasm denial. That's a banger tweet, okay? Do you think the Israeli government is watching my fucking Twitter? Like, come on, bro. Is this the Demon Mama drama, Vadim? Yes.
There was about apartheid in Israel and Palestine. So you think they don't let people in because they criticize the country?
The O response? Wait, where? I don't know about this one, Chief. I do. It's the days and hours since the hostages were taken. Oh. Oh, I got a lot of Jews mad here. Because too many of the Israelis get too comfortable in my audience. And they need to know where they stand, all right?
Think that they look at you and they recognize that overall, in spite of any sort
I
of
should just ask. That should just be the sole question. How much do you think Israel paid me for this tweet?
criticisms that you might have, that you overall are like helpful to their project.
Wait, how much do you think they saw of my content? Do you mean the government or the nation as a whole? When you say their project or they get something out of it?
Yeah, I don't think that either of you would have been invited to Israel.
Who invited us?
You don't know, dude.
You don't know who invited us. You don't know where the...
Wait, who invited us? Why is Lonerbox making it sound like somebody did invite us? We didn't get invited by anybody. We just said we should go to Israel.
How the trip started. It's probably still in one of Mere Destiny's channels. The whole trip started because we were invited by...
Oh, wait. It might have been by Sev, who is an Arab Palestinian Israeli, all these three fucking words together. In his chat, maybe. Is that what you're going to say?
Sev. It was a Palestinian who lives in Israel was the one who spurred the idea. And then we just started to make connections from there. We just, like, people came in and said, oh, I know a guy, because everyone in that region knows a guy. That's also why we met Isawi Frage, who was whose father was murdered in the Kfar Qasim massacre, the Israeli-Palestinian Knesset member. That's why he was one of the interviewees. That's why we met Mustafa Barghouti. You know, a guy...
And we also interviewed... apparently there was an Arab kid who was a Palestinian kid who was abducted outside of his home, and then they drove like an hour and a half west to back near some forest near Tel Aviv, and they set this kid on fire, and then he died, obviously being set on fire. Well, I guess that's not super obvious, but we interviewed that kid's parents as well.
Who is very radically against Israel, but you think like the government allowed this to happen because it benefits them? You think Israel would let someone interview Mustafa Barghouti?
Absolutely. After watching Destiny's interview with fucking what's his name, Ilan Levy, where the disagreements that they had were so fucking tittling, and he like basically like was just like yes-anding him the entire fucking time.
So he didn't even watch the video, bro. Kill me. He didn't even watch that's the debate that we just watched. That's what he's referring to, where Elon won't give me a single fucking point on the Israeli criticism part. And he's so ass mad that he won't grant me a single thing. He didn't even watch it, bro. Come on.
Yes, I think that was their outlook on it. Whether or not you guys went into it thinking like that's exactly what you were, I don't know. I kind of think maybe you
Is
guys...
this the creationist cat, Vadim? Yes.
Were like in the dark about it.
Well, you don't know, so why don't you wait? So you don't know, so why don't you ask? Why don't you just ask some questions? It feels like
because I don't completely, like, for one,
I don't
completely trust everything you have to say.
What if I ever lied to you?
Oh my God, dude.
I don't know, but you say some like really crazy.
That's the whole point of a lie. You don't know when somebody lies to you, so you can't trust anybody because everybody could be lying to you. What do you mean? How are you going to ask me when have I lied to you? If you lied to me, I'm never going to know about it. Ooh, victory.
Things when it comes to Israel and
you can think I say things that are wrong and you disagree with, or you think I'm losing my way or whatever. When have I ever lied to you?
I don't think you've lied to me, but there's always a first time.
So why don't you ask and make up your mind? Is there surely okay? Because clearly I've had like this unique access to the fucking devil themselves.
You also would not necessarily know, like I just said. I just entered into this saying like you very well may not have gone to Israel thinking like, oh, this is how I'm perceived and this like this, that, and the other thing. But I genuinely do not believe from everything that I have read about they don't. There's so many there's so many investigators or rather like news people that are not allowed to certain areas and certain
he just hears this and he thinks it's true. It's fucking bullshit. He's a fucking liar.
I would fucking love to go to Israel to look at all this stuff, but I know
no one knows who you. Not to be mean, I'm trying to little bro you, but like no one knows who you are. No one gives a fuck. You could go to Israel and you could go to basically any part you want. You might not be able to get into Gaza, like literally during the fucking war. Sure, maybe not. Maybe not. I'm not actually sure. Maybe you could find a way to get in. I don't know. But You can go anywhere else you want and talk to anybody you want. You go talk to terrorists in the West Bank, literal terrorists in the West Bank if you wanted to.
Know that I would be like, just like most people that you and I both know in like we just wouldn't be.
As an American citizen, they're probably not going to check you. That's probably the most likely.
I was not here to debate you, and I'm not prepared to have any conversations with you right now. You've come in, you've like made yourself.
You've ambushed me. I wasn't prepared to defend my criticisms of you against you. I just wanted to talk shit without you being here to defend yourself. Fucking loser. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I love you, Vadim. If you're listening, I'll have a nice conversation with you
about this stuff, and I still absolutely hold to the fact that I think that you really did drop the ball with your coverage with fucking Michelle Fleischer, and I don't like I did not know I was going to be like roped into this. I like.
It's just that you were saying
you made a claim, so I wanted to give Lonerbox a chance.
The fact that you said it was like not far out for Hassan to believe that I was a paid Hasbara propagandist. When you know, but my assumption was like you've seen enough of this to know full well that's an insane thing. That's completely indefensible. But
the reason why I said to begin with that I thought that it was not a is because we know that people are paid for like that. That's just not
who name one. Who's the last person who paid for somebody to come and give favorable coverage to Israel? Does this ever happen? I feel like Israel's too fucking retarded to even do it. Who? Name one.
You haven't seen those paid propaganda. Like you haven't seen like people who have actually done propaganda content on Israel.
He should just bring up. Listen, if you want to see what an Israeli propaganda trip looks like, look at Brianna Wu's Twitter feed, okay?
And compared it to mine, because if you had, you would have no fucking idea. No, I understand that it's like to you guys. I understand that to you guys, like there's very like to you like there's not really all that much difference between a two-state solution, like a two-state solution person and a fucking Ben Gvir. But like for most people, there is.
Do you realize that the reason why I said from the get-go that I don't think that that this was a paid, like that you guys were paid to come here, is because I actually do know, like I have a friend who was paid, or an old friend, an ex-friend who was paid to do one of those propaganda trips. So I do know what that looks like. I don't know. That's not to say that.
Why not give more information about it? Yeah, I know what he's talking about. Wait, does anybody know what he's talking about? I know exactly what he's talking about. I know exactly what this fucking retard is talking about. Who knows? Where are my Jews? Where are my Jews in chat? He's probably talking about a friend that had a fucking birthright trip or whatever, where if you're a diasporoid fucking Jew, they'll bring you to the country. And it is a hardcore propaganda tour. But it's not like a propaganda tour to make Israel look good to the Western world. It's because they're trying to get Jewish people to fucking immigrate back to Israel. I guarantee you that's what he's talking about. And he says that it was an ex-friend because this guy's not friends with Jewish people anymore because he's an anti-Semitic racist fuck. That's why. But that's exactly what he was saying. I know a friend who got paid to go there when he was only 15.
Old friend, an ex-friend who was paid to do one of those propaganda trips. So I do know what that looks like. I don't know. That's not to say that every single one is going to look exactly the same, but I actually did not think that you were paid to do this. However, I think that it is, like all I was saying when I was saying that, like, it's not crazy to think that
it is crazy.
Because no, it's not crazy.
Yes, it is.
Because
if you know anything about the conflict, it's fucking insane. Yeah, so if you knew anything about the conflict and you actually in good faith watched the footage this up already, you would know. You would know full fucking well.
Do you think that people are not paid by Israel to do propaganda?
Not to do what we did. No, 100% no.
Exactly.
What the fuck are you talking about?
That's what I'm fucking saying, dude. I'm saying that's why I am confident in saying that I don't think yours was a paid propaganda.
But that's also why it's insane to believe it was.
But to most people, I can understand why they would assume that, and it wouldn't be necessarily like this. Like agree. Why? Because we know that that Israel does pay people for propaganda.
But you also know that they don't pay for what we did. They don't pay for people going to see people from Sheikh Jarrah or people. No, we're not going in circles. It's because you're saying something that doesn't connect. First of all, it's not insane to think that. You're very confident saying that I wasn't paid.
I think other people, why it would be reasonable for people to assume that what you did was a paid propaganda trip. I think that they're wrong. But why? Why again? Like, oh my God, we're going in this fucking.
Yeah, but you're saying two things at once. One, on the one hand, you're saying you're very confident that it wasn't paid.
Dude, we're just gonna. I've made myself plain about this. I'm not going to say the same thing over and over and over again. If you want to go to like one more thing that you want to get out there before we wrap this up, I'll do one more thing out. Each thing kind of seems to take like 5 to 20 minutes. So is there anything else?
Anything else, Did?
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, great talking to you, man. I'll speak to you another time.
Okay, bye. I wanted to talk about other things. I just can't be fucked. I just want to fucking.
I brought him up.
Sorry, what's up?
Hey, man. So.
Wait.
I didn't bring you up.
Oh, Lonerbox stuff. Wait, so Mudahar joins the conversation now with Hutch and Vadim? Is that
at all? What is this about?
No. I was just asking about your thoughts on that harassment of Ethan Klein. You know, I'm also somebody who is a somewhat decent-sized public figure that also faced the same level of unhinged harassment It's just weird to me that when I'm watching you talk with Hutch, it's always like, it's always interesting to me that, Ethan is like the big aggressor and, he should just kind of take it, as opposed to the people that have, covered him graciously, not even disowned the idea of like the CPS call to his house, right? Anything of that nature. Or have outright pretty much insinuated that he's been fucking, delinquent towards taking care of his children, right? Which is a pretty huge claim to make. I mean, Hutch didn't cover this, but saying that Ethan Klein is, into drugs, for instance, right? Like you do realize how that could really go against you in a court of law. Like now that the CPS has a file on you, they probably think.
Who said what about drugs? You're talking about me now?
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about that Denim's, Hassan-esque community on Twitter, right? That have been pushing the idea of Ethan's on drugs. He's on this cocaine. I mean, that alone can probably have to say
is in regards to, I have the same thing that I have to say to Hutch, is that in terms of all of the harassment that he has received, some of it is totally beyond the pale, and I don't I'm
okay, but if somebody involved the CPS on my family,
everybody whether you're a piece of shit or you're a great guy on YouTube, I assign.
What do you mean? Am I a piece of shit or a great guy on YouTube? What?
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm saying that regardless of one's character, I think that people should be treated the same. But when it comes to Ethan, it's just not even comparable. The amount of targeted harassment that he and his community has done to others compared to what he has received, and there's just an insane.
Yeah, but where did it begin? What was the timeline? I'm sure you're familiar with the timeline. Where did it begin? Was it him initiating it, or was it him unfollowing somebody from that community that started to, push the snowball?
How things started is just I think.
I think how things begin is important, right?
Really reductive and baby brain way to look at things.
How things begin is how you can understand the context of where things have led.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of things, he was also putting out stuff out there that people legitimately had good reason to think was. It was Islamophobic stuff. Some of the things that he said. Now, I kind of.
What was Islamophobic?
His reaction to.
Don't bring up the fucking Arabs. There's got to be something more than this, right?
Come on,
what was
from the river to the sea.
Oh my god, he doesn't even know. He should just ask him. Whenever somebody brings up from the river to sea, you say what river and what sea? What river and what sea?
I'm Muslim, by the way, too.
Mudahar, please ask him. From what river to what sea? What does that mean?
Practicing one, a pretty devout Muslim.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's just
it's funny because everyone in this community of yours calls me an Uncle Tom. So
when did I call you an Uncle Tom?
Not you, but from that community, that denim side community. I'm associated with Uncle Tom. That's a weird Zionist. My wife's a Nazi, so you can imagine why I'm a little heated about this.
You gotta let me. If you ask me a question, you gotta let me.
Sure. Okay.
So when it comes to from the river to the sea, that is absolutely a very benign call for peace.
Oh my god, dude, you're so white and cringe. Why are you even talking about? You don't have to have an opinion on everything. I'm repeating myself. It's just just go talk about something you know anything about. It's so cringe. It's just so fucking cringe. Well. Kill me, dude. It's a benign call for peace. What does that mean?
Is it a benign call?
It's not a call for peace. Oh my god.
Right now, we are at a place where, and actually, we were at this place from the beginning where people like the ADL and
they call any single person who criticizes. Oh, hold on, sorry, I ran out of tape. Let me flip the cassette over. Anyone who criticizes Israel is now all of a sudden anti-Semitic. Ha ha ha.
Fucking stop anti-Semitism and whatnot. They are talking about just saying free Palestine in itself is this call to I think fucking Netanyahu said it as well, said that it's basically the new Heil Hitler. Well, the same people who are obsessing and kind of trying to what's the word? Tone police people
on the Nazi propaganda are actually the real Nazis. Because did you know that Israel is actually committing a genocide like the Holocaust, and Israel is actually the new Nazis? The closest thing we have to the Nazis now is Israel.
The whole from the river to the sea thing. It's the same thing. It's just kind of basically people draw a line at they will mistake something.
Never mind. I don't even know what he's talking about
now. That is totally 100% just a maybe
a benign call for peace.
I understand the I'm sorry, I'm getting a little a little cracked out here. Sorry, I'm but my point is that it is, there's nothing wrong with that. And
a benign call for peace.
Okay, but do you agree?
Let's just ask him what it means. Somebody.
That things have context, right? You do agree that
I've never talked on stream this long, and so
that's
God.
But you understand context.
Can I just say this real quick, Mudahar? If I continue to kind of because there is a point sometimes where I just tap out of conversations, and meaning I cannot have I just start stuttering like that.
A benign call for peace.
If that's the way it's going to be for me, we'll talk a little bit longer. But if that's the way it is for me, I'm going to have to bow out, and I'd love to talk to you again in the future. Can we do that? If I kind of if that's the case, because I want to have this conversation when I am capable of giving you.
I just don't know what conversation we could really have. It's okay, I asked you, it's what does context make any sense? You brought up the river to the sea, right? Like, yeah, sure, obviously.
I'm saying that's one thing where.
Well, okay, well, let's focus on that one thing. Let's just focus on that one thing really quickly, okay? From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Now, I have personally never been against the freedom of Palestinians. In fact, if you ask me, I think that as Hamas is a designated terror organization, and I believe they should be, actually the IDF, as a Canadian, I don't know why we don't designate both of them. That makes no sense to me. The IDF has done far more in aggression.
Don't ever give this much. Don't even. You don't get any credit for it, and it's not even true. It's fucking retarded.
The Palestinian people in this response to
I know why it does, but I don't
really want to call it counterterrorism or fighting against the Hamas individuals. It makes no fucking sense to me. But let's be real. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Where does this chant originate? Who is kind of pushing this, right? If we're looking at the broader context, no. If we're looking at the broader context,
Jewish voice for peace.
Jewish voice for peace. Hey,
basically what you're doing.
Get your Jews up. Get the human shields. Get them. Get all the Jews. Get all the Jewish shields.
Wait, hold on.
Definitely not the people who spearhead it. Definitely not.
I let you speak. What is this? What does this phrase mean? Does it mean the complete disestablishment of the Israeli people? Where are those Jews going to go? What's going to happen to them?
It means that from
that dude, when he said dude, he's mad because he doesn't have an answer for this. He just realized, fuck, I actually have absolutely no idea what this saying even means at all.
River to the sea, that Palestine will be free. That's free for everybody. That's
Now, what about the history of Jews in that area, Middle Eastern Jews? How about how they've been dealing? How they've been dealt with this? They felt the same.
Look. This conversation is the exact same as fucking white
the South African. Yep, go ahead. Apartheid. Yep, bring it up.
Problem with Black Lives Matter, thinking that Black Lives Matter is
going to take away from whites.
It's exactly that. And
it's not even equivalent at all. We're not looking at the broader context of anything. We're not looking at the broader context of this.
What you're doing,
if you dissolve the Jewish people,
Mudhar's not good for this. Mudhar's not good for this.
Okay, Mudahar, every person
There's one question. Where's Mudahar?
Genuinely an activist on behalf of Palestine, people who are not just activists, but extremely influential voices, like your Avi Schleims, like all of you name it. If you talk about someone who is central to who's a voice who is out there either in America or beyond, who is advocating for the cause, they are using that term. So what you are doing is that you are saying all these people who there's no fucking way that you can tell me that these people are actually trying to suck Hamas's dick or whatever.
Yep.
That the entire pretty much the entire the entire sorry, this is where my brain is kind of tapping out. But
I think what Mudahar
is doing the entire movement is doing it wrong. But you've got it right. But these people who have
you guys, this movement has fucking failed every objective that they've had since the dawn of time. I don't know what. Yeah, it's probably time to change this shit.
No. Do you think that the people online on the Hassan side are the entire movement? Do you think anytime you criticize people for having shitty?
I'm saying if you go to there's not a rally that you go to from Europe to Australia to South America to here that you will not see versions of that.
Okay, so what is your end goal with this? What is your end goal with this? What do you want? What do you want to happen in the Middle East right now? What do you want? What is your perfect goal? What do you want to happen? Should the Israeli government completely dissolve its borders?
I did not. This is going all over the place. I thought that you were.
Bro, I'm asking you what the solution is. Do you want the government to be dissolved in Israel? Do you want their borders to be gone, the government gone, all of it just suddenly become Palestine? Do you want that to be?
I want whatever elements of the Israeli government that whatever elements of the Israeli government that enforce. You know what, dude?
He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know what he wants.
He has no idea.
He doesn't know what he wants for the conflict.
Wars Israel went against with Arab countries.
He doesn't know what he wants for the conflict. How can you not know? This is what you've been talking about for 20 months. It's your entire fucking identity on Twitter. You don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you want to happen.
Oh, does he do a lot of this on Twitter? That's real fucking pathetic if that's the case.
Oh my god. It's all about, I keep telling you guys, it's not about helping Palestinians. It's about shitting on Israel. That's it. And people think that by shitting on Israel, they're helping Palestinians. They're not. He doesn't even know what he fucking wants. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know what he wants to happen. Sorry.
Totally have. Let's pick up this conversation.
How do you pick up the conversation? You're not answering the most basic question. What is your goal? If you believe in this cause so much, what is your solution?
I'm not. Look, dude.
How can you not know what he wants? Oh my god.
I'm someone who has I've been battling a fucked up.
You know what my solution is? You know what my solution is? I can answer this right on. Why? Oh, so you don't care about solutions? You don't care about the solutions? My solution is I think Muslim countries that have the capacity to deal with it should entertain working with the Israeli government and dealing with these actual
As soon as we're not talking about
parties making it safer.
Look, dude. This is serious, okay?
As soon as we're not talking about what Vadim wants, he gets his words back.
True.
It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, I know it's serious. There are people dying. This is not a game to me, okay? There are children, there are fucking men, there are women dying. That is a serious case to me. You don't fucking hear anything from your side.
Who can scream louder?
If you want to talk to me, because now you're just taking a really, compared to the bullshit that you put out on the internet, the sort of
most popular faction that says River to the Sea? What is the most popular faction that says that? Tell me.
Where do you get that question from? What's the most popular faction that says Rose of the Sea? Oh, that's a good question, Mudahar. It's Hamas, by the way.
It is the most popular faction in the Middle East and Palestine that says from the river to the sea.
When I am like,
Good question, Mudahar.
I'm a fucking computer engineer. You guys still look. What is the most popular faction in Palestine that says from the river to the sea?
Bro, we're done.
What is the most popular? What is the most popular faction?
Asshole.
It's a good question. It's a really good question. It's a strong one.
I'm the asshole.
My guy, yeah.
I told you, I went into this, you fucking idiot. I went into this saying that I had already reached a point of kind of exhaustion. And the thing is that, like, that's a real thing.
I work for a living. You think I'm not exhausted either? What the fuck?
Dude,
you is the most popular Palestinian faction that says from the river to the sea.
Can you just fucking terminate this so I can explain? Like, if you want to talk another time,
Terminate him. Terminate this Muslim.
When I'm like, talking, when I'm someone who has like
it's a Hamas, by the way. It's a Hamas, by the way. That's the answer. Okay?
What
does Hamas mean when they say it?
What do you mean? Terminate this.
Asking a basic.
Listen, I don't want to force the conversation if it doesn't. If both parties
Absolutely
don't.
fucking obliterated.
I'm more than happy to talk to you another time, Mudahar. But the thing is that I have to do it when like I have like.
Okay. I'm just gonna ask you. Okay, before we end this, obviously you're tired. Do you think I was asking you a really difficult question there? Do you think I was trying to gotcha to you?
I don't know what question you're talking about because I'm speaking.
Okay. Hold on. Can you listen to my question? Just in peace. I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna say very slowly.
Go ahead. I'll chill out.
Ready? All right. Let's redo it. Let's bring it on. Okay. What is the most popular Palestinian faction currently that says from the river to the sea?
Okay, it is not Hamas. Like people all over the fucking earth say that, and like so.
It matters for the people in the region thing.
Stop this bullshit of continuing to ram through. I shouldn't have even started this to begin with. This is what I have to say. Okay, I genuinely have health issues. Okay, like health issues.
I do too, bro. It's part of life.
That make talking at this length. I thought that this was going to be a like 2 to 3 hour conversation with Hutch, which I was like prepared to talk about.
To be fair,
and this is the thing. What we're talking about is very important, and I'm not going to have a conversation. I am not in a place where I can do the conversation we're having.
We can pick it. We can listen. You haven't eaten any food. I get it. I'm fucking hungry too. We can pick this conversation up another time. I didn't want to force anything. I did ask you for permission if you wanted to speak to both people. I didn't mean to dump anything on you. Just to be clear. But like, if you want to break and call it there, we can do that.
Totally fine. I asked you to bring him in. So like I'm not saying that you like I don't think that you were kind of I don't know like just being a dick by letting these people in. I said let's go ahead and do it. But
let's just pick it up another time.
Conversation that I had with Mudahar and other things. I mean, it's exactly like I was telling you. In general, I should have just kind of like ducked out after about like 4 hours because like
they've been talking for 4 hours. Oh shit!
Yeah,
it's okay. Let's call it there. Let's both go get some food. It's all good.
So and I will talk about Ethan at another point in time.
Okay.
And if Mudahar wants to have a conversation about that, I will resume it with him at a time when my brain is not like just.
I got you. I understand.
In Swiss cheese.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Mood, I don't know if you wanted to stick around and talk a little bit longer, but yeah, it's fine.
I just think it's insane. Like, okay, I asked the most basic questions. I got to dip out, bro. I'm easy to dunk on Twitter. I've seen you try to do that to me. I've seen you fucking like actually have a conversation. I asked one simple question, and now it's like delay it. Like, what the fuck, dude? That's why nobody takes this fucking side seriously at all. Like, honest to God, something is a fucking
dude. Do you like obviously this is like you just a moment ago were talking about how important this situation is. I want to have a conversation of this gravity.
Okay, do you think I would have a better time talking to you or a brick wall, honestly? Do you think I'd have a better conversation with you or ChatGPT?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Honest to God, I think I would probably have a better chance talking to ChatGPT.
Oh my God.
I think talking to you is like talking to a fucking child.
Okay, so am I
you're running.
Am I ducking out really? Am I ducking out?
Conversation with me.
Bro, you haven't presented yourself. You haven't presented. I didn't ask you an unprepared question. I'm just saying this is not worth my time. Okay, maybe if you were like a Hassan Piker, I might consider it. But honestly, this is just such a waste. You're not doing anything to really fucking. You're not bringing the intellectual like capacity here. You know, like at all.
That's why I'm saying that I can't fucking talk right now. Like that's why I want to talk to you at another time because I would be able to bring that. I am not having this conversation with you because I can't bring that.
Hold on. I have a bit of time out of my day. I talk to you and then you duck out, and now I have to be fucking pursuant to this conversation later.
I said, dude, I said to you from the beginning. I will continue this. Like before you even fucking came in, you like dipshit, you manipulative asshole. I said,
manipulative. What did I do? Hold on. What did I do?
Bring you in, but that, like I probably was tapped out, and then I would not. And then when you got here, I said like, look,
not a woman.
If this is the way that it goes,
not a woman.
How long have you been talking about Israel and Palestine for before me? How many months was it? How many months were you talking about this?
Oh no.
Like from the get-go, dude.
Okay, so from the get-go, but you can't spend an extra 20 minutes talking about those basic questions.
No, because again, I like want to talk. What you want to do here is that you want a conversation when my brain.
I ask you basic questions and you
take advantage of that. You already have.
Taking advantage?
Yes. Like I told you.
Man, I'm sorry. Ask you a basic question. That's taking advantage.
Do you like actually like understand that sometimes people like I have a disability.
I understand when people are disingenuous like you and when they're caught in lies, they have to stammer like baked bitches and then fucking back out of a conversation. That's what I understand. I understand when somebody can't understand the word retraction.
You don't know shit.
When you don't understand, when you don't know the definition of what a retraction is, I can figure out your intellectual capacity.
On this guy, dude, and so I can say, go fuck yourself. If you want to have a conversation with me at a time when I'm prepared to have it, you'll fucking lose. I promise you. Right now.
The Jedi mind tricks. I'm so fucking scared of them.
Let's just call hard out. But it's all good. Go get some food.
Say something. I need you to get rid of him, and then I'm going to say something, and then we'll do that.
Hutch, don't worry, Hutch. I'll leave. Okay, he needs a hug box.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Lonerbox.
right. Yeah, let's give you the final. We need to get some food in you, brother, because
no.
Hutch is much more.
To be clear, I just want to say I'm conscious about like not springing shit on people. I was very deliberate when I asked you to bring people on. I would not have insisted. If you said no, I would have been fine.
A lot of the things that you said over the course of this conversation.
Clearly,
zero problem with you bringing those people in.
Okay, all right.
I asked for it. I know that it kind of like probably like looked really fucking bad because my brain is like fat, but like I just want to say this, like when it comes to like what Mudahar, like I don't know, I should not have like allowed the guy in because it was just like. My point is that man, I get really frazzled when like, I am. If you go to my,
he gets frazzled because he's being asked questions he's not really asking. He's never getting answer for it. That's why he's frazzled. That's it. That's nothing to do with how long he's talking. He just doesn't have answers. He doesn't know because he doesn't know anything about it. Which is fine, man-based.